of it all, he's a great fighter and a great boxer and a power puncher in both hands. You don't stand in front of that man. You move. You stick.
8 pounds? You better watch out, dreadlocks. You better watch out, because we are come for you. Oh, sorry. It's my mother's tongue again. It comes through. You'd better watch out, because we're not playing. We're real, and we are a terror. And the procedure will be parliamentary. Rastafari.
That's what was fucking. Whereas mine was just off it, pulling out. Straight lines. Or like, there's few adjustments that need to be made and we just work on it, you know what I mean? Constantly. Get it more shape.
Денис!
You heard him. That's it. Too tired.
Rashid, позови Дениса сзади.
Few things we need to work on. Yeah, so, you know what I mean? But mainly, you know, it's that.
Stephen A. Smith doesn't hand out warnings lightly, but when it comes to Conor Benn stepping into a rematch with Chris Eubank Jr., his caution carries serious weight. Smith insists Benn should think twice because Eubank's power is no ordinary commodity. It's punishing, sustained, and capable of changing the direction of
Powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot.
a fight in a single exchange. Benn may possess heart in abundance, but as Smith stresses, heart alone won't save him against a fighter who combines raw strength with sharpened ringcraft. Disregard that warning, and Benn risks walking headfirst into disaster. Yes, Benn talks with raw emotion. He believes passion.
There's a lot of emotions on the fight. You know, so for me it was like, yeah, you know, going into the fight, that was my aim, was to hurt him.
Right.
And I hurt him. And that was my plan. That's, you know, I'm not going in there to you know, give him a cuddle.
Aggression and grit can close the gap, but emotion doesn't win fights at this level. Charging in wild and reckless is exactly what Chris Eubank Jr. thrives on. Against a fighter who excels in precision, timing, and physical dominance, Benn's brawling intent would leave him wide open for punishment. That's the harsh reality. Even Eddie Hearn, Benn's promoter, admits there's a smarter way the fight must be approached.
You know, Conor Benn's Conor Benn. But I want him just to be a little bit smarter. We can't, like Nigel said, he's just winging away. And the heart's great, the balls are great, but you can outbox this guy as well. You're going to have to stand and fight because he's going to try and walk you down and be the bigger man. But just be a little bit smart.
If Conor hopes to change the script, Hearn makes it clear Conor Benn's fighting spirit is undeniable, but raw courage will not be enough against Chris Eubank Jr. Wild swings and relentless forward motion might look brave to fans, but in truth, those tactics play directly into Eubank's strengths. Unless Benn fights with discipline.
I do see improvement there for Conor, and I do think the results will be different the other way around in the next fight. I think it'll go the difference all over again.
Composure and razor-sharp execution, he risks being systematically broken down by a stronger, smarter, and far more seasoned opponent. Johnny Nelson has his own angle, pointing to Chris Eubank Jr.'s stiff legs as a potential weakness. But even Nelson acknowledges that Eubank's timing, accuracy, and power more than compensate. To expect Benn to suddenly overturn the first result with nothing but heart and a couple of tactical tweaks is frankly wishful thinking. Unless Conor evolves dramatically, the balance of power in this rivalry remains tipped heavily in Eubank's favor. Adam Booth takes the discussion deeper, analyzing why Eubank's physical presence matters so much. Booth highlights how Eubank Jr.'s legs less than ideal in the first fight stopped him from imposing his
box anymore because his legs weren't working.
Yeah.
He was throwing a lot of shots, but nothing had any real power or snap because he didn't have it in him, and so he couldn't force his size advantage on
full dominance. And yet, even without his best physical base, Eubank still dictated tempo, showed sharper skills, and controlled the rhythm. Booth's point is sobering. If Conor Benn's best takeaway was "I stayed in there," it isn't much of a victory. Eubank wasn't at his physical peak, yet Benn couldn't capitalize in a way that truly shifted the fight. Booth suggests Benn could improve in the rematch, but the harsh truth remains. Unless Eubank turns up flat again, Benn will be staring down the same storm, only harder and more punishing the second time around. Tony Bellew doesn't sugarcoat it either. He spells it out. This rematch isn't about stamina or sheer fitness. It's about maturity, composure, and mental toughness under the bright lights. Chris Eubank Jr. has been through wars, boxed at world.
You wouldn't know what stamina and what engine he's got in him. Really.
It's not about the stamina and the engine. It's more about the thought process and of gaining that experience of being there and doing it. Okay. It's like when you go into your first 12 rounder. No matter how fit you are.
Level and knows how to endure the grind of a 12-round fight. Conor Benn, for all his heart, doesn't have that depth of experience. Bellew insists you can't replicate those moments in sparring. The psychological battle is already tilted toward Eubank, and that's something Benn cannot fast-track, no matter how hard he trains. Bellew's blunt statement, "This rematch cannot happen," underscores the risk. For Benn, it's not just another fight, it's a career gamble against a man who thrives on pressure and high-stakes occasions. Eubank's composure is the dividing line, and if Benn rushes in without a fundamental shift, he could be playing with fire. But Bellew also captures what makes this rivalry so intriguing. It's raw, it's authentic. There's real pain, real risk, and real consequences. Fans buy into it because it feels genuine.
It's one of the worst pains you'll ever have. But listen, it's been done. Some find it funny, some don't. It's all part and parcel. When you get involved in these kind of things, you have to just accept it. And everyone's bought into the fight. We all know the drama, the rivalry's real. My greatest worry is these two boys don't bump into each other when no one's around.
Yeah,
because if they do, it's happening. 100%. It's worse than that, mate.
Strip away the hype though, and what remains is skill versus reckless ambition. Eubank has honed his craft, weathered big nights, and proven he can handle the brutality of elite-level boxing. Benn, meanwhile, may be fearless, but fearlessness without control often translates into punishment. Carl Froch puts it into perspective. He admits this isn't the kind of fight that shakes up the world of boxing, but it is the kind of fight that defines careers. For Conor Benn, it's about proving he belongs at this level, though his first showing suggested otherwise. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's about shutting the door, winning twice, leaving no debate, and cementing his superiority in this bitter rivalry. Froch's reminder that it's prize fighting is spot on. At the end of the day, it's about money, legacy, and bragging rights. But only one man can.
For me, it's a fight that probably means a lot less for boxing than what it does for the actual fighters. You know, the fighters, for them, there's a lot at stake. Conor Benn wants to overturn the decision. And Chris Eubank wants to cement the decision and say, I've done it twice. Bottom line is they're making big bunts, aren't they? Big dollar, and they might as well make money. These are prize fighters. We can't begrudge them making money fighting, because that's what they do.
Truly benefit. If Benn loses again, his stock takes a massive hit. If Eubank wins, he cements himself as the man who owned the rivalry. Froch frames it as business, but in truth, personal pride burns hotter than any financial incentive. Eddie Hearn, speaking from a promoter's perspective, circles back to Benn's biggest problem: discipline and respect for structure. Benn too often charges forward on raw emotion, ignoring tactical awareness. Against a composed, seasoned fighter like Chris Eubank Jr., that lack of structure is a glaring liability. Eubank isn't just stronger, he's smarter, and he punishes mistakes ruthlessly. Hearn insists it will be different this time, but that's where reality bites. Promoter optimism might please Benn's camp, yet the truth is unchanged. Eubank thrives on opponents who underestimate him. If Benn hasn't shown adaptability,
this guy has zero respect for anything, and I hope people can see through it. Some will, some won't. But if you can't see them, that's a lot of what happened up there was just wrong. So listen, we go to work and we're in to win the fight. It's going to be different this time.
Stability in the first fight. What evidence suggests he'll suddenly transform in the second? Hope is not a strategy. Eubank is proven at elite level, while Benn is still trying to prove he belongs. Barry Jones delivers perhaps the sharpest reality check. He argues this fight is far more dangerous for Conor Benn than it is rewarding. The first clash already took a heavy toll, and stepping back into the fire against Chris Eubank Jr. can only multiply the damage. Jones makes it clear, no matter who wins, it will be another brutal night. And in that equation, Eubank remains the safer bet. Why? Because Eubank's durability, chin and ring intelligence give him an edge that can carry him through grueling fights. Benn, by contrast, relies on explosive bursts and emotional aggression, which inevitably fade over 12 rounds. Even if Benn shocks the world and pulls off a victory, critics will...
So this fight can only harm him. Because that was a hard fight, the first one. This one will be another hard fight, whoever wins, unless there's a real freak occurrence, not freak occurrence, unless someone gets caught with the shot really early, then it's going to be a hard night. Which you still have to make Eubank the favourite again, like I did the first time. I mean...
We'll call it a fluke. If he loses again, his career credibility takes a devastating blow. For Eubank, however, a second win seals the rivalry and proves dominance beyond dispute. Jack Catterall offers a rare voice of optimism for Benn, praising the spectacle and even daring to back him in a rematch. He calls their first encounter one of the best fights he's ever seen and believes Benn's power could carry him to an upset. It's refreshing to hear a fighter give the underdog credit, but Catterall's take feels more emotional than logical. Stopping Chris Eubank Jr., that's a bold prediction, one that doesn't align with the evidence. Eubank has proven his chin, toughness, and ability to absorb punishment from bigger, stronger men. Benn may carry explosive power, but he's never faced anyone as resilient as Eubank under the brightest lights. And if Benn couldn't finish Eubank when the latter wasn't at...
You know what, it was an unbelievable fight. I remember watching it, one of the best fights I've seen. I wasn't there live. I'd like to get to this next one, but I think it's going to be another great fight, and I'm going for Conor Benn for the win.
Do you believe he stops Eubank this time?
Definitely.
His physical best, what chance does he realistically have when Eubank shows up fully prepared? Catterall's belief reflects hope, but the hard evidence points the other way. This isn't just about hype or entertainment, it's about careers. If Chris Eubank Jr. wins again, he doesn't just settle the rivalry, he stamps his authority as the superior fighter, proving the first result was no fluke. A second victory silences critics, bolsters his legacy, and closes the chapter for good. If Conor Benn somehow pulls off the upset, the shockwaves would be enormous. It would rewrite his reputation overnight and shake the boxing landscape. But as things stand, the gap in experience, composure, and ring IQ makes that mountain almost impossible to climb. Eubank is calm, battle-tested, and thrives under pressure. Benn is fiery, emotional, and still unproven at this level. That's the difference. This isn't just another fight, it's a defining chapter for both men. For Eubank, it's about sealing legacy. For Benn, it's about gambling everything in the hope of rewriting his story. So the question remains, do you believe Chris Eubank Jr. will close the book once and for all, or can Conor Benn defy the odds and shock the world? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because this fight isn't just about fists, it's about pride, legacy, and the brutal truth of boxing.